Ooh, happy Halloween. Spooky shit tonight. Suns once again playing in the Intuit Dome, right? 8 days apart. They've already had 2 games against the Clippers in their home arena and 2 games against the Lakers, one at Staples or Crypto and one at the Footprint Center. Suns have played Los Angeles teams 4 times now this season, and they're 3-1 against those teams. You add on a win against the Mavericks, and this team is 4-1 after a pretty impressive win in Los Angeles today. It's a game in which they're down 21 points in the third quarter and come back. They're down big in the first quarter again, and they come back. And they win pretty handily, so something's in the air. It must be Halloween. All right, that's the best I got. I'm joined on the show. Oh, by the way, welcome to the Sun's Jam Session podcast. My name's John Voight. I'm managing editor, Bright Side of the Sun. Who are you? You're the person who's watching or listening, so thank you for doing so. Give a thumbs up. Matthew is out trick-or-treating right now. I think still. He's gone. He's Gambit out there just throwing cards at kids. Some people like to get candy. Matthew just chucks cards at kids or something. So I'm joined by your favorite Aussie and mine, Gavin from the Aussie Suns Fan podcast. Gavin, thanks for you're like the MVP of pinch hitting so far this season for the Suns Jam Session, man.
It's always nice when I'm available on a game day to jump in and join you guys. You guys are my favorite, so I always love jumping onto Suns Jam, and it's good to be on with you after being on twice with Matthew.
Yeah, and so far we haven't had any technical difficulties, so this is a great start.
It's a good start.
But it's early in the show, and it's Halloween in America. It's November over there. How's November?
Yeah, November's quite good at the moment. A little bit chilly, but it's okay.
So what's your temperature right now? I want to see if I can get this in Fahrenheit.
It is 17 degrees in Melbourne today.
So 17 times 2 is 34 plus 30 is 74. So that's like 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Pretty close.
I guess.
You're
the one. It's about 62.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw there's no easy mathematical way to just go from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and it drives me nuts. And I want to do it because I listen to your guys' pod, obviously, and you guys will mention the temperature every now and then, and you mentioned the game time. You guys preview the games on your weekly show, and you're like, listen, we're doing it on an Australian time because we're in Australia. We don't need to sit here and cater to our American audience. As well, you shouldn't. But I just wish there was an easier way to do the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion because
it's the formula's on my screen now. It's 17 times 9/5 plus 32. So there you go.
Fuck out of here. That's there's got to be an easier way. That's all I got to say. There's got to be an easier way. And there's got to be an easier way to get some of these wins. And we're going to talk about that and more on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. So make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, do all that fun stuff. Do the same thing over on the Aussie Suns Fan feed, which has a brand new logo. I got to say, looking pretty nice there,
Amazing
bud.
Logo. Amazing logo.
Big fan of it. Designed it myself because I was listening to you guys at work the other day, and I was just staring at the logo. I was like, man, it's time for an upgrade. They're using the old logo that I designed for you from 2 years ago, City Edition style. So I sent you a couple options, and you picked one. So good stuff. Go look at that logo, people.
Very great. Very amazing feedback on the logo so far. Everyone's very, very, very happy with the upgrade.
Good. And no cease and desist letter from the Suns yet. So that's good.
Exactly right. Yeah. Thanks, Justin.
And if the Suns need a lawyer, so says Jay. He's right here in the chat. You can contact him there. All right. I'm going to be drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper tonight because I had way too many beers last night and whiskey and stuff. It's a Dodgers thing. So pop them if you got them, Suns fans. And let's talk about how we beat LA. Suns, who were down at halftime by a substantial amount, come back and win this game. And so I guess my first question of the pod that I'll ask you, Gavin, is do the Suns have a first quarter problem? Like, is that the thing this year? Because last year it was fourth quarters. Is it like a first quarter problem this year?
I'm more than happy for it to be a first quarter problem instead of a fourth quarter problem.
You're not wrong there.
I'm not going to say that it is a first quarter problem just yet, because we're 5 games in, and we also, if we recall back only 3 games ago, we did the same thing to the Lakers in the opening quarter. So I think it was running out the alcohol from Book's party in the first half today. And by the time they got rid of that, they were good for the second half.
Yeah, the team definitely played like they were hungover in that first half, and especially in that first quarter. First quarter, just abysmal. Give up 37 points to the Clippers. They're outscored 37-20. And in every capacity, they just look bad, right? Offensive rebounds, they give up 4. Defensive rebounds, they give up 12. So they're out rebounded in the first quarter 16-5. Just no effort on the boards. Allowing 3-point shooting to occur, 3 of 9 for the Clippers, and allowing a couple of different runs. There was a 12-0 run, there was an 8-0 run, and it's like, whoa, what happened? And it's that feeling that frustration's coming in, and where does that frustration go? Where does it like to live? Oh, we all know who gets all the brunt of the problems for the Suns right now.
Nurkic definition make them boys go crazy.
Oh. Now, I will say it's fun. We do have a group chat, and Suns Worldwide, who's been on a couple of the things, instantly just starts ragging on Nurk. And I love how we all respond facetiously. Like, yep, he's on the bench now. He's the one who's given up all these offensive rebounds. Do Suns fans just have to blame somebody for something every time something's going wrong and completely grab a hold of that narrative and don't see the forest for the trees? Like, why is everyone blaming Nurk so bad? He didn't look great. He had a horrible turnover in that first quarter, but apparently he was responsible for giving up 37 points to the Clippers.
Yeah, it's I think it's just a thing. I think we've all learned that that's the way the Suns fans go. That it was Ayton, now it's Nurk, and last year, geez, it could have been a whole multitude of different people. But the fact of the matter was, Nurk's first quarter wasn't great. He didn't play the best, but the problem I have with that, and as you saw in the chat, KD did the same thing. Yes. So why aren't we ragging on him? And KD didn't have his best night tonight, but he was huge in the last quarter on defense. And when we went on that run where we went 15 for 15, I'm sorry, but it changed the game. Nurk hasn't been great. I get it. But we were rebounding with Nurk in the game. We looked a lot better than what we did with Plumlee on the floor. I know that people like what Plumlee does, but after quarter time, it was the same as when Nurk had his huge game against the Mavs. In the first quarter, he looked terrible, but after quarter time, he was pretty solid.
Yeah, and again, part of it, I honestly think, is he is in his own head right now. Like,
I agree.
If Mike Budenholzer was smart, he'd be like, listen, Nurk, do me a favor, bud. Put the phone away. Get off social media for a little bit. Focus on the game. Don't listen to what everybody's saying and writing, because if you are on social media, there's a constant negative output towards Nurk in every capacity, to the point where it's becoming somewhat uneducated. I feel like when you see, well, we need to trade him for Vucevic. It's like, you can't do that. Like, Vucevic makes more money than Nurkic. Like, it doesn't work that way. And the people who are talking about bringing DeAndre Ayton back, it's like all the Ayton stands have been hanging out in a little corner, and when Nurk plays back, they come out like, see, Ayton's better. I was like, yeah, no one was ever fucking arguing that he was better or not. We agree that Ayton's better than Nurk. It's a price or value paid thing. And Coach Budenholzer said it before. He said, Nurk's going to have his nights. And sometimes he has them and sometimes he doesn't. When he plays the Lakers, he doesn't have it because you're playing an elite center in Anthony Davis who can defeat him in 30 different ways. Zubac is much more of a better matchup. And to his credit, Budenholzer's been doing something amazing. He pulled him after like 8 minutes played in that first quarter, and he was having a rough go of it in that first quarter. He was a negative 14. Not as bad as KD's negative 17, but a negative 14 in the quarter. And he sat him for the half. And then he brought him out in the second half. And after a solid showing, obviously, and we'll get to how the Suns performed in that third quarter, but Nurkic was part of that because we needed that defense. We needed that rebounding. We gave up 11 points off turnovers in the first half, 12 second chance points, and we were out rebound 33-15 because Nurkic wasn't in there. Now, granted, Nurkic is having his challenges right now. And a reminder, the guy missed all of preseason except for the last game. So he's kind of like coming out of preseason mode, and he's starting to get some of that feel in there and understanding and spacing and what his role is in this offense, because his role in this offense is not the same as it was last year. We don't need him to play make. We need him to get down there, rebound, box out. And he's still trying to play above the key and try to be playmaking Nurk. We don't need that anymore. We needed him to facilitate last year because we didn't have a point guard, so everyone had to do it. Do you think that Nurk just needs to kind of take a step back and hang out below the block and focus on what he can be really good at?
Yeah, look, absolutely. It's and I think we saw that a lot more in the second half where he pulled it back. He went into the position that he needed to play within the offense, and it was he looked a lot more settled. He created the screening opportunities to the players. They obviously the Clippers then extended. He popped out. He hit a three. A couple of times there, he rolled really, really hard to the ring. Probably could have got the ball a few of the times that he rolled to the ring, but our guys were popping up little floaters and jump shots, and they were working, so why not? But he changed the way he was playing in comparison to that first quarter, and I think we spoke about it, like when I was on with Matthew, we spoke about the fact that he was almost trying to keep up with the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Doors, and I think in the first quarter today was the same thing. He's trying to keep up with the offense rather than just going back and going, okay, when it's my time, I need to slow it down. I need to grind and bump and grind. And that's what we saw in the second half from Nurk. And it did. It just gave us a little bit of an anchor, which is really all we need from Nurk. Be the anchor. That's it.
His mind's telling him no, but his body is telling him yes. He don't see nothing wrong with a little bit of bump and grind. That's what he needs to do is bump and grind.
That's
and he hit a three tonight, so that's nice. But again, I agree with what you said there because that's what his place in this offense is. That's what Mason Plumlee is doing when he comes in off the bench. He's filling that role of being the banger down low, not a screener and roll and get down. Now, obviously, he has challenges defensively because he drops on every coverage, and James Harden really took advantage of that in the first time we played the Clippers. Not as much in this game, but it's interesting. And here's an interesting comment. And again, thank you to everyone who's joining us live, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're at. Appreciate you doing so. But TF Timepiece says, Nurk isn't a scapegoat. Problem with Nurk is that his turnovers come at the worst time. His offensive screen fouls come at the worst time. When he screws up, it's at the worst time. I completely disagree with that. The worst time isn't the first quarter. The worst time would be in the last 2 minutes of the game in a tight game, and he's throwing the ball away. Or it's a tight game with a minute left, and we're asking him to do a screen. He does one of those moving screens. So, the worst time, in my opinion, and again, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and TF Timepiece, to him, the worst time is in the first quarter. What do you think?
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, look, it was the worst time today because they had a significant run going, the Clippers, and that's what makes it look like it's the worst time. But when the Suns were on a run and we were hitting that 15 for 15 and closing the gap, you didn't see Nurk make those mistakes. In the first quarter, he was trying to force the ball. But the fact of the matter is, if you watch that first quarter back again, the entire Suns unit was trying to force the ball.
Yes.
That was the problem. We were forcing the ball on offense, turning it over, and then not transitioning to defense. And every single player did it.
And that's, if you look at the first quarter, 4 turnovers led to 8 Clippers points. In the second quarter, it was 2 turnovers led to 3 Clipper points. Third quarter, 3 turnovers, 0 points off turnovers for the Clippers. And in the fourth, it was 3 and 8. So they gave up some at the back end of the game. They, a couple turnovers led to easy points for the Clippers. But yeah, and that's, I think, what the point of that comment by TF Timepiece was, hey, the worst time is when momentum, and that's the comment that he made. When momentum is starting, that's when you feel like Nurk kind of lodges it up. But he wasn't alone tonight. People zero in on him, but he wasn't the only one who was throwing the ball away. In fact, he only had 1 turnover. It was a bad turnover. Don't get me wrong. It was a fast break.
It was a horrible.
And he had it, and the previous play he had gone at the rim, and I think he got blocked. So the next play, we're in transition. He sees the rim again. He sees Zubats. Instead of attacking, which he should have, he just turned around to throw it to Kevin Durant, and it was intercepted. So it wasn't a good looking
little bob throw too. It wasn't. There was no urgency to it. Nothing else.
Yes,
and it was a
pass.
blatantly bad turnover. It really was. And that's Nurk's problem, is when he does turn the ball over like that, he turns it over in a blatantly bad way. And it just amplifies it. And look, at the moment, Suns fans, you're losing your minds. I get it. Nurk hasn't had the greatest start to the season, but 2 of the 5 games have been against the worst possible matchup he could have in the NBA.
And we're 4-1.
And
that's the nice thing. And part of that is because of the birthday boy.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Big Dick Booker.
Did you realize he had a 40-piece?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Only because I was watching the box score and I needed some points in my fantasy game and I've got Book. So I was keeping an eye on that. But he was phenomenal tonight on both ends of the floor, by the way. Let's not just talk about the 40-piece. Defensively, Devin Booker was locked in tonight.
Well, I know that it's something that the Fan in the Flames podcast did to open their last podcast. I think it was like 12 minutes of talking about our fantasy basketball league. But I will say that you sniped Paolo Banchero from me. I was going to take him. You took him. He went off in week 1, and now he's out for like indefinitely with a torn oblique, which I'm sorry because I had Paolo last year. I love Paolo Banchero. I think he's a great player. I ended up with Tyrese Maxey.
It hurts, especially considering he had 72 points this week. It's almost record breaking, and then he turns around and he's out for 6 weeks.
And just so everyone knows listening, it's not 72 points. It's 72 fantasy points. Fantasy league is. But anyways, yes, Devin Booker, 40 points tonight on 18 total field goal attempts. An amazing night, 11 of 18 from the field, 5 of 9 from beyond the arc. He was 13 of 15 from the free throw line. That's right. Book got some respect and ended up at the line. Must be because he's 28 years old now. They're like, okay, he's kind of an old man now. We need to actually give him some run at the free throw line because we've never in his previous 27 years called it right. 8 assists for him as well. He had 3 steals, and that's what you're talking about, Gav, is the hustle that he had on both ends of the floor. When the Phoenix Suns came out in the third quarter, it's a quarter in which they shot 16 of 20 from the field. That's, you heard me right. 16 of 20, 80% from the field. They were 7 of 11 from beyond the arc and made their first 15 shots. That's what got them back in the game. They outscored the Clippers 39-23 in the third, got him back in the game. It was Devin Booker who was the tip of the spear in that offensive onslaught. He went 5 of 5 from the field in the quarter, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, had 12 points, had 3 assists. I mean, he made it go in the third, didn't he?
He really did, and it sparked everything that was there. And I think as a Suns fan who's been able to sit there and watch Devin Booker for all of his career now, I think all of us felt it. It kind of felt like there was Armani mode was ready to kick off in that third quarter, and that's exactly what we got. For me, the only disappointing part was towards the back end of the quarter, he sort of pulled back and started letting everyone else have a go. Where normally we'd just see Book take over for the entire quarter, but those assists came from feeds to the corners where Ryan Dunn was hitting threes and Royce O'Neal was hitting threes, and he read the game like a book in that third quarter, like a book, and completely controlled that entire quarter from not only an offensive but a defensive standpoint as well, and just dragged the entire team back into the game, and that changed the complexion of it.
It was. He literally was like, all right, guys, I'm sorry that it was my party that is responsible for everybody on the team being hungover. I guess I'm going to have to be the guy to drag us back into this game. Hop on my back, guys. I'm Yoda, or you can be Yoda. I'll be Luke Skywalker. We're going to get back in this game. And back in the game, they did go. And the 40-piece, and everybody who's kind of had that hesitation about Devin Booker thus far this season, how he started somewhat slow. It's this reoccurring thing. We talked a little bit about it when it comes to Nurk, because Nurk obviously was a product of the offense last year, a Kevin Young offense, and it's something that Devin Booker's lived in for quite some time. He's been adjusting to how he needs to fit into this offense. And on a night when you know that Bradley Beal's not going to be out there, and in the third quarter, he's like, you know what? It's my time. I'm taking over. And I kind of feel like he was feeling out the Clippers in the first half as well. Now that he's 28, he doesn't wear a headband. Apparently, there was no headband book tonight, but he was pump faking a lot. And it feels like he was just trying to feel out the defense, right?
The pump faking, I mentioned it on the chat with Matthew on the last pod. Like, it seemed like those first few games, every time he got the ball on the perimeter, he pump faked first just to have a look at whether the defense was going to close. And it was really starting to get frustrating because it just looked like a hesitation kind of thing from Book. And tonight we didn't see that. There was a couple of little pump fakes in there, but the pump fakes made the flybys happen tonight because he was hitting his shots.
Well, it started the first quarter, he pumped like twice. Yeah. And I was like, okay, this pump faking thing's happening again. But I think what he was doing is he's feeling out his spot in this offense and where the defenders are at. And once he got it dialed in, he locked in, and to your point, then he started to use it to his advantage. And we're starting to see him get really comfortable in the Budenholzer offense. 5 of 9 from beyond the arc. So he's shooting with more regularity from deep, which is something that's different for him, right? He's never been a volume three-point shooter. The last time that he took a ton of threes, was his best three-point shooting year as well. It was back in 2018, I want to say. So it's it was a great performance by Book. 40 points, man. I didn't realize it. He was at 33. I guess it was all the free throws at the end of the game when they were doing, the fouling and whatnot.
Yeah, no, it's the fouling at the end of the game certainly helped him. I think he knocked out probably his last 6 or so points just on the foul line from when they were fouling. But yeah, no, fantastic game for Book, and we've been waiting for it. And we did mention again on a previous pod that Book generally does start the season slowly and then works into it. So the last 2 games we've really seen Book start to pick it up, and it's going to be great.
And it's been an interesting journey because, again, as I mentioned at the top of the pod, we've played Los Angeles teams 4 times out of our first 5 games. We're now 3-1 in the Pacific Division, which is great. It's the one disadvantage. Like, gosh, why are we playing the Lakers and the Clippers so much? But now that we're going to be on the other side of it and we're going to start to play some other competition, you're already 3-1 in the division. You've already seen these teams 2 times each, and you played pretty darn well. There's obviously opportunity for improvement, but Booker, along with the rest of the team, is getting ready for a change in the schedule. And it starts with Portland this upcoming week. And shout out to Parker Hines, a super chat, $4.99. Thank you for supporting the show. It says heading to the game against Portland this Saturday, getting a Book jersey. So pumped. Thank you, Parker, for donating to the pod, supporting us. And good luck on getting that Book jersey, man. I'm not wearing. I thought I was wearing the El Valle thing. I changed it because I wanted to put on my black and orange hat because it is Halloween here in the States. All right, we got to talk about him. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. This motherfucker, Ryan Dunn, dude. 34 minutes played, career high, 16 points on 6 of 12 shooting, including 4 of 9 from beyond the arc. I mean, just a menace. He had 4 rebounds. He had only just 1 steal. I'm kind of pissed that you can't bet on any of his lines yet. They don't put any of his lines in there because he's taken the league by storm. Missed his first couple threes, then hit his next 3. Missed a couple late as well. So kind of tell me what you're seeing from him holistically offensively.
Well, He's kind of the perfect fit and the piece that was missing last year, right? From a defensive standpoint, he's taking the best player on the opposition team and locking them up in the dungeon. We love the dungeon. And then, but he's taking those shots that he's taking. They're wide open threes. They're always good shots. He's not taking anything contested. He's not forcing anything. He's just taking what's put on a platter for him. And by doing so, it is pumping up his average and making the shooting look good. And everyone said he can't shoot in college. But the big thing for me was everyone said he struggled from three in college. The guy barely took any shots in college. His job was just to play defense.
Yeah.
In the way that was structured. So it always changed. Devin Booker was a sixth man in college who could barely get on the floor. His job was a catch and shoot guy, right? I think the Suns read this one really well. He just fits perfectly in what we want to do. And look, I still prefer that he's coming off the bench when Bill plays, but he's quick becoming a lot of Suns fans' favorite player, isn't he? Outside of the key guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just again, it's fun to watch a rookie come out and have this instant impact. And if you watch the show or listen to it, I mean, like most Suns fans in other areas of covering this team, we're all just gushing at what we see from Ryan Dunn. And you saw it again tonight. There's a confidence that he has. Eddie Johnson was mentioning it on the broadcast, how he shoots the ball the same every time. And it's a quick shot. Like, it's not like McHale, where McHale changed his shot 3 times and it was kind of elongated. And he had it dialed in there for a bit. But offensively, he's given us much more. I mean, 16 points. We talked about in the offseason, it's like, if this guy can come in and give us like 9 points a night, that's going to be huge. Because we need him on. Yeah, and we need it on the defensive end. And being in Tony Bennett's system in Virginia, they're not an offensive system. They didn't try to unlock him in any capacity. As you mentioned, and something that I've made a point of talking about throughout the offseason was, I just want to see it in the NBA because he didn't get a lot of opportunity in college to really shoot. And the shooting percentage is low. I forget, it was 22 or 26% from beyond the arc in his 3 years in Virginia, but it was it was like 60 attempts or 51 attempts or something very low. So
very low volume.
Yeah, the sample size wasn't there. And you're putting him in an opportunity now to where he's a professional. This is what he does now. He doesn't have to. It's like, oh, shit, I was going to shoot some threes, but I'm late to calculus, running across the campus at Virginia. He's doing this professionally, and he's doing it alongside Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Royce O'Neal. I mean, some Grayson Allen. I mean, just a smorgasbord of amazing three-point shooters. And you're seeing him flourish. And again, kudos to Coach Bud, because the way that the Clippers were defending the Suns in those final moments when the game was somewhat close, the corners were open. And Ryan Dunn was in the corner, and he shot one from the left side, and he shot one from the right side, and he missed both those threes. And he pulled him. He put in Grayson Allen. And, I mean, the last key play where they ran that high screen and Booker gets the ball and he's in the center of the court and he could take it right to the hoop and he just dishes out. On one side, it's Royce O'Neal. On the other side, it's Grayson Allen. He chose Royce. Royce sinks a 3. It's kind of over. It really is it's impressive to see. It's impressive to see the offense with him in it.
And the big one about that was, and I put the comment on somewhere, I can't remember where, but last year that was ISO ball with a contested shot. And we ran a set play that got the ball to a guy who was 4 from 5 from 3 or whatever, 3 from 4 at that stage. Drains the 3, games over and wrapped up. We begged for that last year. Just run one play that ends the game.
We've begged for that this season, because in the first game against the Clippers, it was a lot of Kevin Durant isolation ball. And to his credit, he made an incredibly hard shot that ultimately sent the game to overtime, in which the Suns won. But even then, and I'm right there with you, it started with the Kevin Durant isolation, and then he handed the ball off to Tyus Jones. I go, thank you. I'm sitting in my car, I'm like, thank you. Now we can run a play. And run a play they did. And it's great because you have Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's out there not having to play make. If you want to get him the ball, he's going to catch it. He's going to shoot. He's Kevin Durant. Odds say he's going to make it. But it's something that you're starting to see more wrinkles being added and an understanding of who can do what, when, where, and how. And Coach Budenholzer, to his credit, who is somebody who in the past has been very stubborn when it comes to his rotations, is a good way to put it. It's been one of the knocks on him as a coach. Before he won the title against the Suns, he would have this affinity for keeping his rotations and not adjusting in the postseason because of his stubbornness. He's like, nope, I think I've got a great system. It just needs to work itself out. And who knows? Obviously, we're a long way from the playoffs and seeing how Coach Bud executes in the postseason. But the fact that he's already starting to do little adjustments, pulling Nurkic out in the first half to get him reset, running set plays at the back end of the half, putting the right guy in because he's like, hey, the corners are open. Dunn's had a couple shots at it. He hasn't hit them. All right, let me put my hired guns in, Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, to make sure that this opportunity exists. I mean, what Coach Budenholzer is doing right now with this team, coupled with their ability to get fired up enough on defense to come back in these games, is something that's really impressive to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I think that's the one thing that, if I talk about the first sort of 4 or 5 games, that's the thing that stood out to me, is he's not afraid to pull the trigger and make those moves. We saw it last year where it just stuck to, hey, this is the rotation. Then we get this weird one from out of nowhere with Vogel that nobody would have seen coming. All of a sudden, you've got KD dominating, but we're going to bring him out for Bol and throw Bol on there for 4 minutes. This year, it's the rotations he made, and you brought it up, and I think the best word for it is his rotations this year have been calculated.
Yes.
He goes, right, Nurk is struggling. I'm going to put Miles in there. Miles needs a rest. Nurk, I still need you to sit and watch for a minute. Have a look at how the game is unfolding. I'm going to put Oso in for a little bit and let him have a go at it to give Miles a rest. I'm going to bring in Ryan Dunn, got his 5th foul, missed those 2 shots. I'm going to bring in Grayson and Royce and put them out there. And I think that's where it's been calculated.
I like that. That's a good word. That's a good word. And fun fact, his name is Mason. Mason Plumlee. It's so funny because Matthew.
That's why I should ignore first names.
Yeah. Well, it also starts with M. Like, Matthew has the same issue. He's like, I'm going to call that motherfucker Miles all season long. I'm like, I'm actively trying to, like, I've focused on that in my brain because I want to do the same thing. But Mason Plumlee, another calculated move by Coach Budenholzer, having him get, he played 17 minutes tonight. He was 3-7 from the field, but he had 6 rebounds, 8 points. Just another solid performance. And one of those guys who, and I'm sure it was talked about, in fact, I know it was, on the post-game podcast after the Lakers game, it was the same thing. And I like that Coach Bud has faith in Mason to put him in there, and Mason has stepped up to the challenge. Same thing as Nurk. We know what we're going to get with him. He's not going to be a high flyer. He's not going to be hitting a ton of shots. He's shooting left-handed at the free throw line, but he's a stabilizing force who understands his role. Whereas, as we mentioned before, Nurk is learning what his role is. He's trying to get out of that playmaking role. We need him to bump and grind. We don't need him to play make anymore. We don't need him above the break. We need him down low. Mason automatically, gravitationally ends up there. And to see him perform the way that he did again tonight, it stabilized. It brought rebounds back because, as I mentioned, we were having a hard time rebounding. He was the only one who was getting any rebounds, man.
Yeah, and it's look, I saw he did come in, had an impact, everything like that. Suns Twitter obviously was well and truly targeting Nurk by then in the first quarter. Mason, his best role is as a backup center, guys.
Don't start Mason Plumlee.
We're not going to start Plumlee. It doesn't make sense to the way that we're set up. His best basketball is going to come with the second unit, and that bump and grind is what we need. That physicality is what we need. He's not afraid to put somebody on their ass to slow an opposition's run, but he's better suited to that. And he's been fantastic. He's improved. I think I'm going to do this. I swore I'd never do this, but I'm going to do this.
Uh-oh.
Kendrick Perkins said at the start of the year, he's made teams better when he's come in and played for them. He did it with the Clippers. He's done it previously, and he's done that this season with us in the second unit. It's a significant upgrade to Drew Eubanks.
Yes.
And it's working, so we don't need to swap that around.
No, again, and it's that disease of what if. It's, well, Nurkic had some rough go, so what if he played? What if Mason was our starting center? No, come on. Let's not play this game. What if Thad Young? We need to give Thad more minutes. I think, like Sagan Lee, why don't we give him more of a run? Because he's not good. That's why. That's
Eventually
Mason,
they get exposed.
Yes, Mason plays his role much, much better than Drew did. He's solid. He's fundamentally sound. He gives us what we want and what we need. That doesn't mean he's elevated to a starting center. And when I get to subreddit, you'll know why. Because we're playing the team that he played for last year, and they're all like, dude, do you miss him? Like, fuck no. But at the same time, he was annoying them because he was negating some of the rebounds that were coming so easily to the Clippers at the front end of the game. Now, the guy who really had a huge impact in this game, coming off the bench for 21 points, Royce O'Neal.
Yeah, bling, bling, bling. Royce, 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 yeah, nigga, Royce.
He's starting to get some love in the Suns community, I feel. You've seen it over the past couple days when people are starting to really analyze what he's done and how he's done it thus far this year, and rightfully so. Royce O'Neal, 28 minutes played tonight, 7 of 8 from the field, 5 of 6 from beyond the arc, 21 points, like I mentioned, 7 rebounds. One of those team rebounding guys. That quick trigger is what he has, shooting from beyond the arc and playing with comfort. And now, after 5 games, easily the best net rating guy on the team. He's a plus 24.6 and has the best defensive rating on the team at 94.6. I mean, Royce O'Neal brings it on both ends of the floor, the definition of a 3-and-D guy. And, the Suns got him for nothing this offseason. Nobody talked about the Royce O'Neal signing. I thought it was low-key an amazing bring back because I liked what he brought last year. He fell off at the back end of the year, but at the same time, so did the whole team, right? So what are you seeing from Rolls-Royce and the impact that he's providing for the Suns right now?
Royce is a dog, and he is what I think the difference between last season, and Royce was really solid last season. I think we were all happy with him, but he has found his place within the rotation and within the squad now. And everybody wanted to bring Jay Crowder back for that hustle and that. We've got Royce O'Neal now. We don't need Jay Crowder anymore.
Oh, so true.
He's an upgrade on that. Like, yeah, I've seen somebody say Royce will go 1 for 9. Royce isn't the type to go 1 for 9. Jay Crowder is. He'll go 1 for 5, but he won't go 1 for 9. But both ends of the floor, that hustle, that it's what we really begged for last season, especially in the back end, and we're seeing that from Royce. And I just think he's found the exact role that he needed in the squad, where last year I think he was he probably wasn't on his own, but like most of the squad, he had no idea really what the expectation was of his role last year. And he looks clear as day this year as to exactly what is expected of him.
Yeah, and again, you think about him coming to this team last year, trying to fit in, as you mentioned, to what his role was, but I don't think Frank Vogel knew what anybody's role was. The team was literally identityless. It's something we talked about ad nauseum at the back end of the year. It's like, who is this team? What is this team? They lack leadership. They lack accountability. They lack playmaking. They've got amazing talent, but when you have no, like talent without leadership is wasted talent. Whereas this year, as we mentioned before, with Coach Bud and the way that he's making those calculated decisions, he's defined roles, and he's, again, as somebody who is an expert when it comes to offensive basketball, and you have a player like Royce O'Neal, who is a great offensive, just stand in the corner and shoot guy, he fits in like a glove here. And because of what he can provide offensively and the gravity, him and Grayson Allen are the guys who take advantage of the gravity around him. That's why Grayson Allen led the league in shooting last year, because he's out on the floor with Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And guess what? He's the guy who's open from three. And when you're as talented as him, he's going to knock him down. Well, Royce O'Neal has had the same opportunities last year. And although he wasn't a great perimeter defender, but he was a really good defender on the interior. But his role got mucked up because Frank was still playing with the pieces too much. He was still trying to get Bol in there. He was still trying to, and I love how Matthew's prediction before the year was like, he's like, first 10 games, we won't see Bol. He's like, I'm calling it now. And he's right. Like, he's literally played everybody but Bol. Like, Colin Gillespie's hitting corner threes in the last game, but like Bol can't get on the court. And it's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, but look, I think they asked Bud about Bol, might have been pre-game today, and he just said he's struggling against the depth that comes up against him in those positions. And he's right. We just don't need a giraffe on skates out there at the moment, because these guys like Royce are delivering him what they need to do. And we're only 5 games in. I'm sure Bol will probably get a few minutes here or there and frustrate the crap out of me, because everybody knows my stance on Bol. But look, it's really, really great to see the output of Royce, because I think when he came in, and we spoke about it when he came in, Voido, we knew what his output level could be. He just never quite achieved it last year, and I think we're seeing it now this season.
So a fun stat, the first 4 games, obviously not including tonight, in which when our zeros are out there, right? And we got to come up with something clever, because when you have Ryan Dunn and Royce O'Neal, Ryan Dunn, obviously jersey number 0, Royce O'Neal, jersey number 00. They have a defensive rating when they're on the court together of 100.5 and a net rating of plus 53.7. When those
I can give you an Australian call if you like, because 000 in Australia is emergency. That's our 911.
Oh, no shit. So you just go 000. That makes so much more sense. Like, obviously everyone here like knows 911, but it's like the 9's down here, and then you got to go all the way up here for 1, whereas you guys are just like 000.
000.
Okay.
So work with that. That's the combo right there.
That's a good start. That's a good start. Let's see here. Who else did I have? Do you have anybody you want to talk about before we get into some other stuff here?
Let's have a quick chat about Grayson Allen.
All right, let's drop it.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan.
Oh, Grayson Allen, our fuck shit up guy.
I just want to go to prom in the 50s. So talk about Grayson Allen. What do you want to talk about?
Suns fans, stop panicking about Grayson Allen. He missed half of the preseason. He's come back. He's missed a couple of games already because of the birth of his kid. He's going to find his spot. His body's changed. He's a bit bigger. He's a bit stronger. He still, like you mentioned about Nurk before, he needs to find his spot in the way that this team plays as well. We're 5 games in. Give it 20 games, and if Grayson Allen's still struggling a little bit on his shot and providing something additional on offense, fine. Then maybe we've got something to worry about. But right now, give Grayson some time.
Yeah, and again, we're winning. So obviously, and again, this is kind of one of those interesting things where everybody wants everybody on the team to be amazing at all times. It's like, yeah, it's 2K. They should all be amazing at all times. But you have, Grayson thus far this season is, averaging 4.3 points. He's shooting 23% from the field and 23.1 from beyond the arc. And that's why people obviously are frustrated and worried. They're like, oh my gosh, well, Grayson Allen, obviously who led the league in 3-point shooting this year on the season is now 3 of 13 from beyond the arc. But he's 3 of 13, folks. It's a small sample size. He had a baby. He's missed a couple games. He's going to find his way into the rotations. And again, Budenholzer put him out there when it mattered. So yeah, it's going to be okay. It's going to be.
And he got that last steal that basically finished the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
He did that against the Clippers last time too.
I'll tell you one of my favorite plays. So I was at the game on Monday when we played the Lakers. Is when he just cold shouldered. Who did he cold shoulder?
It's great, wasn't it?
Who the fuck was it, man? The guy went down. Was it D'Lo? I forget who it was, but he's just like, fuck this. Boom. Just threw his shoulder into him and fell down. But yeah, so 3 of 13 from the field. It's going to be okay. And do you know why it's okay? Because players like Ryan Dunn are performing the way that they are. Ryan Dunn's eating into Grayson Allen's minutes because he is providing the offensive and Royce O'Neal as well. But they're providing the offensive firepower you want with the defense. So it's like a best case scenario for Grayson Allen. It's like, listen, you're adjusting to a new kid. You're adjusting to your new body. You've grown into this beautiful young man, and his voice probably squeaks. He's like, just pass me the ball. You know, he's going through puberty. And he still has an opportunity to continue to get comfortable as time progresses because the teammates around him are stepping up. Because there's going to be a time in this season where the shot's not falling for Ryan, where the shot's not falling for Royce. And Grayson Allen's going to be the guy that we're going to be like, you know, that guy could be a jam star of the game because he's the one who's out there doing it. That's what a team does. They pick each other up when other guys are down. It's great to have these options because you know what that's called? Depth, which nobody gives the Suns credit for, and I'm okay with it because we know that they have the depth.
Which we need, and somebody in the chat just said it too. He had 4 steals tonight.
Yeah.
And he was restricted on the total minutes he played. And yeah, calm down on Grayson. He's another one. Give him time. And I'll make the Jamsters a guarantee. In 15 games time, there'll be a game where Grayson hits at least 7 threes in a game.
Oh yeah,
and everybody will be all over him again.
You know it's coming. And the reason, obviously, he was 1 of 8 from the field and 0 of 5 from beyond the arc tonight. But again, as you mentioned, 5 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 assists. He's doing some of the other little things that help you win games like we did. 125 to 119 in a game we were down 21 points in the third quarter. So, I mean, it's quite the great comeback for the Suns. Let me tell you what's going on in Los Angeles tonight.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Where is she? Well, I'll tell you what was going on in Los Angeles. They were burning the fucking place down. Dodgers won the World Series, so they're like, let's burn buses. But obviously, you know, when you know, again, if you're new to the show, we go to the opposing subreddit for the opposing team just to see what they're saying about the game, our team, the Suns. And I can't go dressed as a Suns fan or they'll kick me out of there. So I go as Batman. And I go, where's James Harden? I want to talk to him. And one of the first comments was, Beard's dropping dimes like slanging McDoubles. I was thinking about this, and I know this sounds ignorant to ask, but there's McDonald's in Australia, right?
There is. We call it Macca's, though.
You call it what?
Macca's.
Like McDonald's?
Yeah, Macca's.
Is it McDonald's or is it literally? Okay,
it's
but you call it Macca's.
We just call it Macca's.
What,
we
like,
shorten everything. You know that.
True.
Don't I?
Well, we call it like Jack in a Box, Jack in a Crack, I guess. But I was thinking about this the other day because I went to McDonald's because I had to drive somewhere long, and it's like, all right, let me grab something real quick. I think the McDonald's double cheeseburger is like the best fucking food in the world. It'll kill you.
I don't think I can debate that.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like a regular cheeseburger is just not enough. But you get a double cheeseburger, like there's like 3 good bites in there, right?
Right.
That's the goal. You got to have 3 good bites. Yeah, everyone's like Macca's.
Yeah, Macca's.
Yes. Macaroo like kangaroo, says John Carl.
That's a bit far.
Yeah. All right. Now you're reaching. Sky Jones showing Plum what an actual backup center should look like. Refs have a D-book boner. They obviously weren't a fan of the calls in this game. Total free throw attempts. Let's see here. So we were 23 of 28, and they were 17 of 21. So not too crazy on the disparity.
It's not like his disparity.
No. What was the Lakers stat last night?
Oh, they had something like 28 more foul shots than who they was it? The Cavs. Yeah, 28 more foul shots than the Cavs and still lost by 24 or whatever it was.
Fucking Lakers, man. That whistle's ridiculous. Screw this Dunn kid acting like prime Clay. Love it. You know Phoenix is totally boned given that their best center is seemingly Mason Plumlee. And this was just a random comment, but it kind of made me laugh. That possession turned me on. Wow. You ever been turned on by a possession, Gav?
All the time. Batman.
My
all
God,
the time.
my cat just came in here and she scared the shit out of me. You can't see her. She's a black cat. It's all dark in here. All of a sudden, I feel something on my finger. I was like, what the hell?
It is Halloween over there.
Yeah, but oh God, she probably she jumped off the table. That could have been something. Sorry. Never thought I'd see a Booker and Zoo duel. Because in that third quarter, Booker and Zubats were going trading baskets to start the third. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? Fuck. Suns. Hot as the sun.
Oh my God.
It's a stupid fucking. That one I'm like downvote. Suns are the dirtiest team in the league. And which is why they won't win shit. And then we won. And then they asked, y'all miss Miles or Miles? Shit, I said it. Y'all miss Plumlee? And somebody responded, hell no. And this fucker Ryan Dunn is pissing me off. And then quite possibly my favorite comment of the night, shit, we the Yankees now.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
That's right. Yankees choked it away.
You would have definitely loved the Yankees comment. Poor Matthew.
Yeah, whatever. Love them to death. Fuck the Yankees. And you know what? I'll say this. I know that not a lot of people like me being a Dodgers fan. Oh, well, you know, I grew up. I have my reasons. We all have our reasons. Last night, obviously, was bittersweet because it was the first time they won a title and my dad wasn't around. And, just thinking, obviously, I'm a Dodgers fan because of my dad. I'm a Suns fan because of my dad. And feeling that feeling of getting a championship is something that we in this fan base want so bad. And I'm telling you, it's going to be so sweet when we win one, man.
There's going to be tears. There's going to be everything.
I was up to like 2:30 in the morning drinking whiskey and beer and just like crying.
I know, we were messaging on Twitter. We were talking about Billy Joel.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, we were messaging on Twitter. Basically, your last message to me was "fuck Billy Joel."
That was last night.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I was having a good old time. I was watching like 1988 Dodgers highlights, and I watched the Fernando Mania 30 for 30. I'm just like, anyways, that's the fuck Billy Joel, huh? Oh man, let's go ahead and hand out some hardware.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters, a reminder, if you're watching along live, hit the thumbs up button if you want to. If you're listening, give us a rating if you want to. And let us know in the chat who your jam star of the game is. Who are you giving it to, Gav? It's got to be 40 Book, right?
I would have thought this one was quite easy. It goes to Armani mode, Devin Booker.
100%.
There's some people saying Royce a close second. Royce was fantastic, but there's nothing close to second. To Devin Booker finished first, second, and third tonight.
Well, I will say Shig Zero gives it to Yuta Watanabe. BDB Book is My Son's Idol by Michael Kolb. Book with a close Royce, as you mentioned, by Keith Niddles. Jam gives it to Nurk. Suns Fever, Jam Star D Book. Big Dick Booker from Parker Hines. Book from Tanya Karp. Wet Like I'm Book from Seth. Dunn from George E. Book, of course, from Mike. Kawhi Leonard from Lincoln Spice. Kip gives it to Book. John Carl gives it to Book. Yeah, I mean, it's Devin Booker. You know, we didn't talk about Kevin Durant. I know that the Kevin Durant stans are going to show up here and go, oh, you guys don't even fucking, you guys love Booker so much. You guys never talk about Kevin Durant unless he's having a bad game. Well, I mean, 7 of 13, highly efficient, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. Really good defense. Had a steal, had 2 block
Defense
shots.
in the last quarter in particular.
Huge when they went to the small ball 5. So I tip my cap to Kevin Durant, to all the KD stands, so you know that we do understand who he is, that he exists, and that he's very, 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 very good at basketball.
And he's special to us in Phoenix. He's special.
He is special, and he's so good. It can be boring as so much watching him. But I'll tell you this: when you go to Suns games, listen to who the crowd cheers for more. It's Booker's team. Like, just accept that. It shouldn't be Booker's team. Kevin Durant is the greatest basketball player I've ever seen. He should never be. Booker sucks. Okay, cool. Devin Booker, jam star of the game. Period. Exclamation point. And now, coming up next for the Phoenix Suns, Saturday here. So that's 1:00 on Sunday for you guys over in Australia. Look at
Correct.
me. So it's 7:00 here. Our last game before daylight savings. The fall back, spring forward, whatever happens in the States, and it happens around us. So games will start to be later. I think Monday night we play at like 8:15, which just fucking sucks. But at the same time, we welcome back DeAndre Ayton. Oh, that's going to be a fun one, isn't it? Portland Trailblazers on Saturday. What are you thinking about this game and that squad?
Look, I like what Portland's doing. They're playing the kids and all that sort of stuff. But Devin, I think we saw last season, Devin takes that personally. I'm not real concerned about what's coming up against Portland, to be brutally honest.
Well, this is a team that did just beat the Clippers last night. Beat them 116-115. Overall, 25th as it pertains to points per game. They average 107.2, which is like really low in this NBA. 15th in opposing points per game, 112.8. And net rating, they're 23rd with a negative 5.6. They're 2-3 on the season. Obviously, DeAndre Ayton's coming back. He's averaging a double-double because that's what D.A. Dur. He's the 4th highest scorer on the team, 14.4 points.
Is it winter there?
What's that?
What's the weather like there, like in Portland? It's not going to be snowing. It's not going to be snowing.
It's a home game, but that's a good question because how's he going to get to the
He's
airport?
got to try and get out.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's not
if
too
there's
cold.
any ice on the driveway, don't expect DeAndre Ayton to get to the airport to fly to Phoenix for this game. He just doesn't know how to do it. But it'll be an interesting game because, like you said, they're playing the kids. They have talent on this team. I mean, that's for sure. Anthony Simons
Scoot's settled, right? That Scoot wasn't great last year, but he's settled this year. He's playing some good ball.
Yeah, he still can't shoot the 3 ball. He's under 30%, but he is starting to find his way a little bit. Almost 6 assists a game. It's Tamani Kamara is going to be obviously. There's a couple things that are going to happen on Saturday. Anytime Ayton does anything to Nurkic, those Ayton stands, like I said, who like to come out of the shadows, will just be coming out swinging and just see he's clearly better. And no one in the history of anybody has ever said that Nurkic is better than Ayton. Nobody. It drives me fucking nuts when I see that fucking argument. Well, yeah, he's better. It's like, no fucking shit. He's also paid half as much. Okay, so there's that whole thing. But you're going to have that and obviously Tamani Kamara because Tamani's proving to be a rotational player in the NBA.
Well,
I mean, 8.4 points per game, almost 3 assists, almost 4 rebounds, and almost 2 steals a game from Tamani. Drafted, 52nd overall by the Suns and traded to Portland in the deal that brought us Nurkic and Grayson, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson, and ultimately got us off the Ayton contract, which allows further flexibility for this roster moving forward. Tamani Kamara is the one guy who's like, it will always wonder what could have been because you see what Ryan Dunn is and you see what Tamani Kamara is, and you're like, gosh, if we had that. But you know what? We have that with Royce O'Neal, and I'm okay with that. What are your thoughts on Tamani?
Look, it's the same as anyone else who's ever been tied to the Suns when it comes to a draft. It's Tamani got traded. We're going to continue. Anytime he does anything positive, we're going to say, he could have been on the Suns. We should have kept him. But look, Tamani's gone. He's a Blazer. He never even played for the Suns.
No.
Really, he
had
played
one summer.
He played a few summer league games for the Suns. Good luck to Tamani, but it's not exactly a Tamani Kamara revenge game because he played 4 seasons with us and we decided to trade him off.
Very, very true. So it'll be a fun game. We win this game, or is this going to be one of those games where we don't put them away?
I think I still think it's one of those games where we don't put them away because I'm only going off the history of last year because I'm still nervous about everything. But to really 8 to 10 points. And it'll be one of those games where it'll feel like we're never going to lose the game, but some stage during the last quarter, they'll get it back to like 2. And then we'll just push it back out and win it by sort of 8.
I can see that happening. And that's going to be the first real test this season because this is the first real shit team we're playing. Right, the Clippers and the Lakers both are kind of being predicted to be a mid-tier Western Conference team. Obviously, the Mavs went to the finals last year, so everybody thinks that automatically they're going to be a top 3 seed, which I still don't truly see it. But this is the first shit team that we're playing. And so this is going to teach us a lot about this team, about their ability to focus and impose their will upon teams that they should impose their will upon. That's what great teams do, not good teams. We did see that a couple times. Which game was it where the Suns, maybe it was the Lakers game, where we went up big and then we lost focus. It was the Lakers game. It was the one loss where we went up big. We're up 22 points and we lost focus and we let them back in it. And even, Bradley Beal was saying after the game, it's like we just lost focus. We lost our ability to lock in. That's what we need from this game. Yeah. It's not going to be 140-90, everybody, so you can settle down there. To Gav's point, it might be an 8-point victory. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows because that's how fucking basketball games work, everybody. So enjoy the ride. And then Saturday night, that's what we'll be doing. We'll be coming live right after that game, and it should be a fun one. So in the meantime, Gav, can't thank you enough for hopping on here with me while Matthew's probably still out there trick-or-treating at 11 o'clock at night, which is just strange at this point. But tell everyone where they can follow you and your guys.
At Aussie Suns Fans on Twitter and YouTube. Check out the Aussie Suns Fans page on Facebook if that's something that you're into. We always need some more crazy people to link up with us. So, yeah, check out Aussie Suns Fans there. On Instagram, at Aussie Suns Fans, I think there, but Boyd, my counterpart, runs that. So you probably get some crazy sort of
there's a lot of dick pics.
Dick pics,
is
probably the best way to put it.
It's kind of thing, but it's like kangaroo dicks. It's the weirdest.
Yeah, if he builds a list of followers, anything could come out of that page. But look, make sure you follow us. Click along, we have a bit of fun. We normally go live your time Saturday night as well. So after that game, you guys will do your after game, and then we'll flow on directly from there. So
well, that might be a fun one because. I think Matthew will be at the stadium covering the game, so maybe I just go live with all you guys. Bring on, bring on Boyd, bring on Nate, and then that could be fun. So we'll see. But
just shoot me a message, mate, and we'll work it out.
Of course. Well, again, appreciate you coming on the show. Again, my name John Voida, I'm managing editor, Bright Side of the Sun. Make sure you head over to brightsideofthesun.com. Read all of our amazing content that's being published daily by myself and our writing team. And all that other stuff. Follow me, Darth Voida. Cheers, mate. Go home and love your family.